Another professional video. Do you know who this is? Thought I'd get us outside today. Get a little fresh air. Feel better already? Not done this outside. It's a learning experience for me, folks. That puts my head in shadow, doesn't it? I tend to get a little colder up here, even in unseasonably cold weather. Well, this story is about a little life story. That's what these are for me, that I'm sharing with you, little life stories. Touching my face again. We're not supposed to do that, but I've not been out in public. But just to pass that along, that's why one of the reasons why we're wearing masks, because we get our hands in stuff, pick up stuff, and then immediately start doing this, which you'll see me do a lot of. Get a little closer here. I'm having a hard time seeing this. Anyway, it's a story from when I was stationed in Germany. I was a crew chief. Another missile battalion, only this was a self-propelled Hawk missile battalion, which I don't believe they even use anymore. And anyway, always a little getting used to when you get to a new station. People are getting used to you, you're getting used to them, you're understanding what your folks are capable of. You know, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. And we was on duty one night. We were 24/7 manning. And anyway, I was new, but I did get up and I would often check on the crew at night, because we had a little war room where there always had to be somebody on duty monitoring things. And when I went in, because I had made out the schedule, which I always put myself on, but it wasn't the guy I had on schedule. I'm going to call the guy that was scheduled, and you're going to hear this name some more in my stories, was Billy Bob. And I said, well, what are you, not Billy Bob, I said, well, what are you doing out here on the dais? Why are you here? I said, so-and-so's supposed to be here, Captain Billy Bob. He said, he said, that's okay, Sergeant Tom. Wasn't a sergeant, I was a specialist. He said, I'm pulling his shift. And I said, well, I said, why are you doing that? Because I didn't have him down. I got you guys on shifts for a reason. And I said, why don't you tell me what's going on, really? He said, nobody likes to wake up Specialist Billy Bob. I said, really? So, he's a mean one. Yeah, he's a mean one when you wake him up, and you can get hurt. And he's told us that he's really not responsible for those first 30 or 40 seconds that he wakes up. He can do something to us and not get court-martialed or charged or Article 15 or anything for it. I said, okay. So I said, well, I'll tell you what. You just stay here and I'll go check on him. And went into where the bunks were, where the guy slept. Specialist Billy Bob wasn't in there. So I went back out to the war room, and I said, where is Billy Bob? He said, well, he sleeps in one of the outbuildings that we had. I said, really? You know, and I hadn't actually got around all of the buildings yet and stuff that we had. So I said, okay, thanks. So I left, and I go out to this building, and of course there's a lot of stuff stored in there. You know, equipment and spare equipment and, you know, parts and stuff. And I just keep going through the building, and it was a long building. Well, when I got clear down to the very end, there was one last door. I opened the door up. Specialist Billy Bob had set him up a bedroom. Not a bunk bed in there. Regular bed. And a nice little nightstand. I mean, it was a nice little room he'd set up for himself. And I said, well, I'll be. He was just so peaceful. He was just sitting there, and he was just sleeping away, just sleeping. Well, I walked back out of the room, and I got a 2-before, and because he's a mean one when you wake him up. So I walked back in and had that 2-before on my shoulder, and I reached under the bed and stood up and raised that bed just a little bit and dropped it down. Now, he knew somebody was in there. He come up swinging. He was, Well, I had that too before, right in. I went like this. And I stopped it about that far from the front of his face. Eyes got real big then. I said, hey, I see you're awake now. I should mention this is after the time I'd been a drill sergeant for a little while. And that kind of took his breath away. And I just kind of explained to him, I said, these days are over for you. You've had some real good days. I hope you enjoyed them. I said, get dressed, get back in there, pull your shift. And if you ever do this again, I won't stop with the 2-4. He believed me. That was all that was important. He just needed to believe me. I said, not only are you going to finish up your shift, you're going to finish up the next shift. I said, and then you're going to come in and you're going to wake me up real nice, and then I'm going to go out and pull my shift. He ended up all right, actually. And one night he came in. This is weeks later. Came in and, Tom, yeah, what is it? He said, I think I need to tell you something. I swung my feet over the bunk, and I'm still in my fatigues. I got my T-shirt on, but, pants and stuff. And I said, okay, what is it? What's going on? I could tell it wasn't good. He said, I need to tell you, I just got a call from the colonel. I said, really? I said, because he doesn't usually call up here. He was our not our battery commander, he was our battalion commander. He said, well, I said, tell me what happened real quick, because I got a feeling some stuff's coming our way. He said, I might have been a little drowsy. And so I didn't answer the phone real quick. And it was just a line that we had. It wasn't a secure line or anything. It was just a line we had down to, the battery area. He said, so it rang quite a few times. He said, yeah, it did. Out in the war room. He said, yeah, out in the war room. I said, okay. Because I already knew that whoever was called up there in the middle of the night, it wasn't going to be a good call. So anyway, I said, well, what happened then? He said, whoever it was chewed me out for taking so long to answer the phone. And he said, I didn't know who it was on the phone. He said, so I might have said some questionable things. I said, like what? He said, what are you doing called up here waking me up? Yeah, I said, that would be unquestionable since you're not supposed to be sleeping on duty. Well, he said, I wasn't sleeping. He said, I was just mad. He said, I get. Yeah, I do. I know how you get. And he said, after I chewed him out, he said, he was kind of quiet, and he said, do you know who you're talking to? And I said, no. Who, colorful language, am I talking to? He said, this is Colonel blah, 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 your commanding officer. And so I said to him, well, he said, do you know who you're talking to? He said, no, who is this? I said, goodbye. And he hung up the phone. And I said, oh my. I said, I can hear the phone ringing now. He said, yeah. He said, he's probably calling back. I said, go back out there and don't answer it. Okay? I'm going to go on shift now. So don't answer it under any circumstances. Get dressed real fast. I go back out there. And kind of stopped for a while, the phone. And anyway, I told Meiser, I said, just go into the bunk room, be asleep. Pretend you're asleep, sound asleep. You don't know what was going on. Nothing happened on your shift. Okay? Go on back out there. You take care of your people. I'd analyze the situation. I didn't feel like we jeopardized anything anyway. Phone rings. It was a colonel. He was hot. He said, who is this? And I said, well, this is a specialist. I use my right rank. This is specialist. So-and-so. I said, Specialist Thomas. What do you need, sir? Very respectful. He said, well, you're not the guy I just talked to. I said, well, I'm on shift. I said, I've been on shift for the last blah, blah, blah. He said, no. He said, that's not true. He said, I just talked to a guy. And I said, well, you may have talked to a guy, but it wasn't one of ours. I said, sir, I said, all I can think is that you were given the wrong extension, and it wasn't one of my guys. I'll be getting back with your commanding officer. Well, yes, sir. Appreciate you very much. Is there anything else I can do for you? Blah, blah, blah. He hung up. They looked for that guy for days. We kept Billy Bob away from telephones. We kept him away from anything. We kept him away from formations. We just didn't want him to go away to jail. And he was actually, after that, a pretty good soldier. Look, I hope these little life stories maybe brighten your day a little bit, give you something to chuckle about. They aren't all funny. Some of them are just interesting. But peace be with you. Hang in there. We're going to get through this.